Good morning, friends. Today we are going to learn the next part of our syllabus, module number 4, part A. I shall return to this Bengal. In module number 4, you are going to learn three poems. First is I shall return to this Bengal by Jibna Ananda Das. Jibna Ananda Das, poem, who is a Bengali writer and wrote about the Bengal and the condition at the time of partition and his eagerness to go to return to the Bengal. This Bengal, it suggests that his native place in Bengal, which is departed due to the partition. In the previous lecture, we learned about O. Henry's short story after 20 years, and now we are going to learn the next part, module number 4. I shall return to this Bengal, the poem by Jiban Ananda Das. See, introduction to the poet. Jiban Anand Das was born on 17th February 1899 at Barisal town, which is now in south central Bangladesh. After Rabindranath Tagore, Jibna Ananda Das emerged as the creator of a new kind of modernity in Bengali poetry. Basically, he is written in Bengali. Das started writing and publishing in his early 20s. Many of his poems have been published posthumously by the initiative of his brother Ashokananda Das, sister Suchitra, and nephew Amita Ananda Das. Das' singularity lies in his ability to pursue beauty in the unacknowledged and small objects of nature. The last few years of his life were marked by dire financial distress and acute unhappiness. He suffered a lot due to partition of India. He died on 22nd October 1954. See, his life is very struggled through. He struggled very much throughout his life, and he came to study to Kolkata, and he can't go back to his native place Barisal, and that is the regret for the poet, that and he want to go to that particular place, his birthplace, and live there his life happily, but he can't due to the conditions at the time of the partition in 1945. He came to Kolkata 1936 for his education, and he can't go back to his native place, which is situated now in south central Bangladesh, the town Barisal. See about the poem, that introduction to the poem, that trauma partition is depicted very realistically in his poem. The poet expresses his strong nostalgic feelings about old Bengal. He is always lived his life in the memories of old Bengal. He wants to take rebirth to return to United Bengal. See, he wants to return to United Bengal, not the parted Bengal, which had given him utmost fulfillment during his lifetime. He desires to take rebirth in Bengal, not as a man, but as a myna or a fishing kite or a dawn crow or maybe as a duck. He wants to rebirth in his native place, not in the human flesh, but he wants to rebirth in nature, as a part of nature, become a bird or a fishing kite or a duck. The poem broadly represents trauma of partition that the poet underwent in his last phase of life. he lived very miserable life due to the partition, and he we can compare him with the writer of Toba Tek Singh, Sadat Hassan Manto. So, how this writer also suffered due to the partition of India, and it is depicted in the partition literature and literature written in that period. So, this poem is also depiction of the partition of Bengal, and it affects the writer's life very effectively, and he want to suggest that the partition underwent in his last phase of life is very miserable and very bad one. See what is the actual poem. The poem is in very simple words. That is, I shall return to this Bengal to the Dhanishri bank. Dhanishri is a river which is situated in Bengal at his native place. Perhaps not as a man. He never want to go there as a man, as a person, as a human being, but Maina, Maina is the name of a bird, or fishing kite, or dawn crow, floating on the mist of bosom to alight. Again, it is a reference of a nature that is floating on the mist bosom to alight. Like a bird, like a fishing kite, he want to go to his native place, birthplace. In the shade of this jackfruit tree, in this autumn harvest land, he remembered the seasons in his Bengal, that is the autumn harvest land. Or maybe a duck, a young girl's a young girl's bells on my red feet, drifting on culmi scented waters all the day. That is culmi water spinach. That is in we found in the tropical areas. That is water spinach vegetable, some kind of vegetable which is found in Bengal. Tropical plant grown as vegetable for its tender shoots and leaves. It is found throughout the tropical and subtropical regions of the world. So here it is a there is some kind of a smell of that particular vegetable water spinach. So he said, drifting on culmi scented waters all the day. For love of Bengal's rivers, fields, crops, I will come this way to this green shore of Bengal, drenched by the Jalagni's waves. Again, the Jalagni branch of the river of Ganga, which is found in Bangladesh, Bengal. He here described his trauma, nostalgic atmosphere with the help of the nature, with the help of the beauty of the nature. Perhaps you will see a glass fly ride the evening breeze. Again, he gave the example of glass fly. Or hear a barn owl call from the silk cotton tree. In every sentence we found the nature and description of the nature, and he addressed to the nature in this particular poem and remembered his original Bengal and natural beauty of the Bengal as well. A little child toss rice grains on the courtyard grass, or a boy on the Rupsa turgid stream steer a dig, digni, that is a small sailing boat which we found in the tropical areas and on the river side, with torn white sail, white egret swimming, egret, that is a crane or heron with mainly white plumage. So, with torn white sail, white egret swimming through red clouds to their home in the dark, you will find me among their crowd. So, again, he give the example of heron and crane, that is the we call it in Marathi bagla, or the bird flies from one place, migrated from one place to another place, and he wish he will also migrate, with torn white shell, white great swimming through red clouds to their home in the dark. Like egrets, white egrets, he will also come to the home in the dark. You will find me among their crowd. He will come with them with white egrets to this Bengal. So, in the simple sentences, the poem is written, and you can understand in the first reading, but the implied meaning is that how he presented the trauma and about the partition and his life, how it is changed due to the partition. So Das is a nature poet. We can treat him as a nature poet in this. For this particular poem, I shall return to this Bengal, and how he given the references of the nature throughout the poem. And again we can see the next theme in the poem, that is the trauma of partition in the poem. All those things he remembered due to the partition, and he remembered those things, and he want to return to his native place, birthplace. So here we can understand how this poem goes, and how he want to take rebirth to in the forms of Maina, fishing kite, or dawn crow, and the in the uh, in the fishing kite and the as a duck. So how here the poem is about represents trauma of partition that the poet underwent in his last phase of life. So read the poem and try to understand how the poem is written for the as it is the memories of poet, and presents the trauma of partition in the poem. Here is a writing activity for you, that write an essay on partition of India and its problems. Prepare Bengali poets list and write about their literature. So, if possible, try to write down an essay on partition and prepare the only the list of the Bengali poets and write about their literature. So it will be enrich your knowledge about the partition literature. So here we will stop for today.